Salutations, I'm Save7, and today we've got a new build for you guys. So, this one's gonna be a thematic build. A lot more dot stuff to come. I am working on a lot of dot things, and this is one of them. This is a shock-based dot Amara. Now, for this one, I decided not to rock the elemental crit hits anoint. The weapons that it would have worked pretty well on would be the grease trap, because I was struggling with killing the shock immune enemies, because this is a very shock centric build. And I guess another thing that I was slightly struggling with was Wotan, because a lot of like single target high DPS damage was coming from the spark plug. A way that I could have mitigated that was switching over to the Snowdrift and sliding around after swapping the Guardian Angel. Or another way of solving that issue would be having the EP or Elemental Projector on, and then switching to Shock or Corrosive and dealing damage that way to Wotan. But besides the point, this build's been a lot of fun. I'm loving these dot builds right now. I'm just having so much fun playing around with it, and it takes time. That's the whole point of dot damage over time. It takes time, but with Amara, with Wildfire, you're spreading freaking dot all over the place. You get one guy dotted within a group, and everybody in the vicinity gets dotted with some crazy damage numbers, and it's so much fun. And then slam shenanigans is also fun, it is damage over time, just not elemental dot damage. It's a spark plug, so it's just shock damage that happens to be over time. But it's also a really good dot enabling tool, especially with the setup that we have going here. The Guardian Angel is already buffing the spark plug, and then when the spark plug applies a dot, then you're getting bonus damage from the Guardian Angel on the dot as well, and it can turn into some crazy numbers. It's so much fun. I loved it. It's very rare that this build actually went down, mostly because Transformer is one of the best one of the most underrated shields now. It's definitely one of the best shields in the game when it comes to survivability. It's difficult to utilize on multi-elemental builds, such as like running that Hellfire dot Amara build. It's not fire. I mean, it's fire, so it's not shock. So it's kind of difficult to build in shock to something like that. And then in other cases where you're utilizing like the action skill and elemental anointments, you are not going to be able to hit yourself very often to proc the Transformer. So you have to rely on enemies to proc the Transformer, which really isn't the best idea. Now, the mechanics of the Transformer actually work in this game. With how they work in Borderlands 2, it's nowhere near as fun to utilize the Transformer in Borderlands 2. Just simply because if you take damage that's more than your shield capacity, you just start taking damage, and it's super sad. Super sad. I prefer the Transformer in this game. And honestly, there were some people that I've been talking to that said that they don't think it should be, and that BL2 people, they've been saying that they don't think the Transformer should have been a you should still take the damage over the damage, just simply because it would be unbalanced. And I'm just like, well, there's also a lot of other things that are unbalanced. I mean, there's a lot of people who complain about Borderlands 2's OP levels, and I mean, in all fairness, there's a lot of things that are just not balanced. You may be able to complete all the content in the game with any weapon, but that doesn't mean it's equal experience with any weapon, let alone like being balanced to the point where there is less of a meta than there is. Because there's a lot of times where it's like, ooh, you have a Lyuda, you have a B shield, and everything dies. You have a Sandhawk, you have a B shield, everything dies. And it's like, well, okay. Is there something else that I should be using? A fastball? Cool. Is that doing much for bossing? No. Okay. How much of the end game is bossing? A lot. Well, it does make it kind of difficult. With Borderlands 3, though, we have tools such as, like, the Guardian Angel that lets us do more dot things. Because it just gives damage to everything, that also includes the dot, and it does some crazy stuff. The further away that we run away from enemies, the more damage that we're stacking up with it. I have a whole bunch of weapons that I was playing around with this with. The ASMD is really good. I didn't use it for the run just simply because I was too focused on abusing the Devil's Foursome. Because that was the most recent weapon I picked up, and I was like, you know what? Let's freaking use it, and I just started using it. So, for a lot of the dot damage that's happening, we're not just dealing shock dot damage. That's not the only thing. This is it's sort of similar to Electro Burn when it comes to gauge. There is a skill called Conflux that gives random elemental effects having a chance to apply based off of the initial elemental effect present. So if you're dealing like 100k shock damage dot, and there's a whatever percentage chance for skill points that you put into that skill, whatever percentage chance per tick that it will reapply as a new element, giving you another 100k dot damage from just a different kind of dot. Easily triples our damage if we get lucky. Spark plug, going burr for a lot of boss. There's a lot of other weapons that I want to try out with this setup, so I'll probably be posting another video on this build in the future, just because I'd be testing out like new weapons and stuff with it. As of right now, this is the stuff that I've played around with a lot. These are like the higher dot damage weapons that are not meta that I was like just having a lot of fun with. It's like a lot of the meta weapons are not just the best damaging weapons, but they also have like the highest elemental damage numbers for their elemental damage stat, which it's very sad to see that kind of thing. I mean, with the fire-based builds, you could get away with using other weapons because there was like, hey, the hell shock, well, not the hell shock, the hellfire exists, and that thing was so much fun to shoot things with the elemental crit hit stuff, and you have access to the Unleash the Dragon to initiate the combat, giving you that initial fire dot, and then you use all of your other facets of fire damage to get those elemental crit hits. And the Hellfire was very good at stacking it by itself and applying all that damage. Probably one of the better weapons to use in the fire category. It outdid the Krakatoa from my testing, and it outdid a lot of the other like major fire weapons. Now the issue with shock is that major shock gear is like the plasma coil, the free radical. It's like, well, okay, that's not what I'm looking for. And then our next step down is like, when it comes to shock exclusive gear, there's not really that much that has a really high dot damage that would work very well with this setup. Now, I have fire selected as my attuned elements, and the reasoning for that is because fire gives me bonus for my driver. Every time I'm taking dot damage, I stack up mindfulness so I can run faster, and the driver is also giving me bonuses to that dot damage. So the driver is proccing the driver is a little bit more important than having shock has a elemental type as your primary element. It does mean that anima is not going to be as effective, but who really cares about anima at this point, right? Like, nobody cares. Having that extra duration be fun and all. It's not exactly too helpful here. The Quasar is probably one of the better options, if not the best option for the setup, just simply because we are putting everybody in one spot, so we can apply all of our different shock damage avenues. and then switch over to our Guardian Angel and walk away. And things tend to either die or, oops, they have no shields. And it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You know, speaking of shock gear, I am starting up this series on Borderlands 2, utilizing a non-anarchy gauge, and a lot of it is going to be me using shock gauge because I enjoy that spec. It's one of the highest damaging specs to exist that doesn't include anarchy. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I do have a lot of Borderlands 2 content coming up soon. We have the crazy OP47 stuff that we're going to be going over. Okay, right here. Oh, that's right. I have shoutouts to do. I'm a freaking idiot. I do apologize. This is freaking 12 minutes into the video. We have some shoutouts for this. So, first to Hellfire for creating that dot damage video, not dot damage video. He was talking about Borderlands 1. I talked about this in the Hellfire Amara build video. He was making a video, well, he made a video covering like what Borderlands 1 did better than the other games, and what lessons that could future games learn from Borderlands 1. And one of the avenues in that video was dot damage. Like, dot stacking was what he was specifically talking about. And so I was like, well, I'm going to leave my little bit about Borderlands 3, because the information that he portrayed in Borderlands 3, I didn't feel like was 100% accurate. Was it wrong? No, but I also feel like it wasn't entirely right, so I felt like I needed to add my little 2 cents to it. And I received a comment in there. I received a reply to my comments on his video saying that dot damage and the Unleash the Dragon were like all completely worthless and stuff, and I'm just like, no. And I made the Hellfire Amara video with all the dot stuff, and that led me down a rabbit hole of it wanting to do dot-based Amara shenanigans, because I've always been like, Zane's the best dot character. I mean, my Chain Zane video covers freaking elemental usage, utilizing the elemental crit hits anoints, and abusing the heck out of being able to just shove radiation into all of your different elemental types down all of your enemies' throats. But I haven't really considered Amara to be a high contender for dot damage, despite all of like the dot stuff that she does. It's not, in my opinion, none of it really scales high enough for it to be worth being a dot damager, so I thought. And here we are, running freaking dot-based stuff. Of course, it's not going to be as fast as a lot of like my stronger builds, but this is also in its very early stages. I'm currently like relearning how to manage the dot damage system without utilizing elemental crit hits, and this has been a lot of fun. I am enjoying it. Finding all sorts of different avenues of applying dot damage. It's been super fun. Alright, so we have Hellfire. Next, there is a guy that I started watching a little bit of recently. Let me pull up channel. M.R.A. Ronald. He posted a video. Actually, I'm going to try and pull up here. Don't play that, please. Okay, there we go. He posted a Amara Goddess of Thunder build. That is one of his videos that he posted, I think, 11 days ago? Yeah, 11 days ago. And it was a lot of like shock damage, and then he would use like the free radical as his weapon of choice. I loved the build concept, and I definitely enjoyed watching it. Now, what I'm doing here is a little bit more dot focused, while his was a lot of just deal shock damage in general. This is a lot more dot focused. Of course, I have just shock damage in general stuff, but my focus is dot damage over time as a concept as well as a damage type. So, but watching him run with his shock variant of Amara, that was like, well, I'm curious what I can actually do with shock damage on Amara. How far can I push it? Because I like pushing stupid things, which is why I'm gonna segue into another topic here, which is why I'm wanting to do this like OP47 stuff. I dropped a little like mini trailer to it in my Hatterax video, which is why it's like half the size now. It was a exclusive bit of content for watching it within the first 24 hours. And we covered it OP47 Hatterax. And with that, I talked about how I might be explaining how to do that in the channel soon. I plan on making the video on Wednesday, showcasing for everybody how to have OP47, whatever, whether it's gear or running the actual OP level. And of course, it's going to be PC only. Well, unless you have it on 360, in which I think it might be possible, but I don't recommend playing around with it that way. You would be able to get the gear, but you wouldn't be able to use it because there's no way for you to actually access OP47 or set your character to have an OP level of 47 on console. Now, you could have the gear and you could sell it or just look at it for novelty, but you wouldn't be able to actually like use it. So, PC exclusive stuff. But after doing the Hatterax run, I don't know if you actually want to have access to it on console, so there is that. It's a lot. Like I was playing around with like trying to kill ads, and I was barely denting things. I wasn't able to kill things with sham fleeting on Maya, just simply because of how much health regen the enemies had. The speed in which they regened HP was nuts. The sham fleeting, it didn't work. I had OP47 gear on, and I was trying to kill OP47 enemies, sham fleeting, and I wasn't dealing damage. So, it's a heavy task to start playing in that. But I feel like there's definitely a couple methods that can make it possible, and I want to play around and break things. I love breaking things in that regard. I think this is going to be the point where I end my commentary for this video. I don't really have much else I wanted to talk about. I covered the stuff that I want to cover later, and I covered the origin of this build. I don't really think there's much else. I mean, I guess I can talk about like what I've been doing recently, in like my spare time. I started up a chess game. Well, I started up playing daily chess with Raid Sauce. He's a streamer over on Twitch. Go check him out. He encouraged me to play against him because I was talking about how I've been enjoying chess, and we've been doing daily games and having fun. I have learned that I am not exactly good at playing Dutch. Well, it's more so I just have no experience because this is my first time playing the Dutch, so I didn't exactly know what I was doing. But I'm getting accustomed to it a little bit. There's a lot of other openings I'm good at. Dutch is not one. as of right now. So I'm working on it. I'll play the Vienna Karokan any day. Those are my 2 favorites. I'll play those any day. But yeah. Oh, okay. Hear me out. I have a really fun idea for a video series. I want to do a Terraria playthrough with the Valhalla mod, which covers Borderlands weapons within Terraria. Like, I feel like that would fit right in with the branching out slowly from Borderlands content. I could start making Terraria content, like spin off into that, just start making Terraria content, just running different mod packs and stuff. And that would be like the perfect segue. Just be like, this is slightly Borderlands related, and see if people enjoy it. And if I get good results from people saying like, hey, we like this, like comments and stuff, because I don't care about the view numbers. It's more so the comments. If people enjoy it, then awesome. I will make those videos too, because I'm gonna play through the pack anyways. It's really just determining if I'm going to be recording it or not. So we'll see. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the video here. I'm done talking. I'm gonna shut up until the end of the Wotan kill, and see y'all next video. And that is a takedown confirmed. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all had a good day, and hope y'all continue having good days. Good lord. See y'all next video. Bye bye.